Mac, this is Dal. We're doing our project on Masia, and basically just its inner workings and how it has become what it is today. All right, so the first person to talk about is Johan Cruyff. He's really instrumental in what how La Masia became what it was, and he starts his career at Ajax in the Netherlands, and he played for the Netherlands national team, the Dutch, for a while. In 1973, he moves to FC Barcelona in what at that time was the biggest legendary transaction there ever was. And in his first year at FC Barcelona, he wins La Liga and he wins the European Footballer of the Year. He won the Ballon d'Or 3 times, which at the time was a record until Messi has recently beaten that. And he was named the European Player of the Century by the board in Europe, and came a close second to Pele for World Player of the Century. He went on to become a coach and very successful at that for Ajax first, and then he moved to his former team Barcelona, and he became very successful. And he was the pioneer of a new form of football called total football. So when he was on the Dutch national team, he and his coach Rinus Michels, whatever it is, they were the first ones to explore this new form of football, which they called total football. And it was characterized by players not being set in their positions, being able to move around on the field, players being able to go play offense, then come back and play defense, so they weren't stuck in one position. And in order for this to work, they really needed a good midfielder who could kind of delegate and kind of handle the ball and make sure he could run both the offense and the defense. And Johan Cruyff was exactly that for the Dutch national team. He brought that to Barcelona, which became a staple of La Masia and of the FC Barcelona football team. And that form of football became what is known today as tiki-taka, which is kind of the same thing but a little bit different because it's a little bit more quick. It's characterized by players one touches, just really quick passes back and forth, just so they can kind of open up the field and pretty much make the other team make a mistake, and then kind of get a striker to move down the field and hitting him and scoring the goal. So that kind of morphed into tiki-taka. Total football morphed into tiki-taka over time, with help from the Spanish team and with help from really good midfielders like Xavi and Iniesta. All right, so then a little bit about La Masia's history and their mission. It's the school of FC Barcelona, and it was shaped by the teachings of Johan Cruyff, and he brought that type of football to Barcelona. La Masia, just kind of some logistics, it holds more than 300 players, and every year 1,000 to 2,000 kids between the ages of 6 to 8 come out and try out for the team, and they select 200 every year, so it's really competitive, as you can imagine. And they have scouts that are deployed around the world. They have 15 in Catalonia because they really want to focus on developing kids in Catalonia and kind of keeping that Catalan tradition, so that they try to get as many from Catalonia as they can. So they have 15 scouts in Catalonia, 15 in the rest of Spain, and then 10 in different parts around the world. And their philosophy is a mix of tiki-taka and total football, as I said. And the main goal is creating a system from the bottom up in which all the players on the team have the same mentality and the same way of how they think about how they're going to be playing and how they want to score and play defense and everything. And a secondary goal is upholding the Catalan culture and tradition through developing players from Catalonia to become some of the best players in the world, which they've been able to do. And this is a quote here from Pep Guardiola, who's one of the most successful coaches in Barcelona's history. And he said, "The player who passed through La Masia has something different to the rest. It's a plus that only comes from having competed in a Barcelona shirt from the time you were a child." So that really just shows you the kind of pride that these guys have in putting these great players through La Masia. So we'll take a look at some of these players and who they were and what they became to be in the next slide. La Masia boasts over 50 players that have been in the top 5 European leagues, and many of them playing for Barcelona themselves. Some of the most notable include Xavi Hernandez, Andres Iniesta, Carlos Puyol, Cesc Fabregas, Pep Guardiola, Sergio Busquets, Gerard Piqué. These guys have all played for Barcelona, either are playing for Barcelona or played for an extended period of time. And they all went through La Masia, so you can just imagine how good this school is when it has all these guys coming out of here. But without a doubt, the most famous and successful product of La Masia is Lionel Messi, who's widely considered the best player in the world. And Messi at age 24 won 4 Ballon d'Or awards. That's the best footballer in the entire world. And he's also Barcelona's all-time top scorer at age 24, which is pretty impressive considering now he's 25. He only has, he's got probably 10 more years, so who knows how good he can be.
Yeah, and so now I'm going to talk about like the influence that La Masia has had on Spanish football, not just FC Barcelona. So Spain did something very, very like unique that no other team really has ever done in like the modern age, and they won the European Championship in 2008, the World Cup in 2010, and the European Championship in 2012. Their 2014 World Cup didn't go as well as they dropped out in the group stages, but it's obvious to see the influence that La Masia has had on it. The 2008 European Championship featured 5 players from La Masia: Iniesta, Puyol, Xavi, Fabregas, and Sergio Garcia, all of which are like main contributors to the team. So that was like the beginning of this run, and it was basically formed on a core team of people from La Masia. 2010 World Cup and the 2012 European Championship featured even more La Masia players. In 2010, Piqué, Puyol, Iniesta, Xavi, Victor Valdez, Pepe Reina, Busquets, Pedro, and Fabregas were all members of La Masia that played on the team. And as you can see, that's at least one player in every single position. I think Victor Valdez and Pepe Reina were the second and third goalies behind Casillas. But besides that, those are all guys that contributed a lot to the Spanish national team. Same thing with 2012, Victor Valdez, Pepe Reina are 2 goalies, Piqué, Jordi Alba, who never actually graduated from La Masia because he left right before he would have graduated, but he played it for the Barcelona's youth squad for at least 5 years. Those are the defenders: Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Fabregas, all midfielders, all just great contributors for the Spanish national team. And then Pedro. The 2014 World Cup, as you can see, featured a lot of the same players. They didn't do as well, and now Spain is kind of going through a transition period where they're trying to figure out what their identity is going forward. But something that might point to their identity is the U21 team that played in 2014, and that featured 4 guys that have graduated from La Masia: Sergio Gomez, Sergio Roberto, Marc Munisa, and Jared Defoulu. Defoulu is one of their big stars that they hope can contribute. He's on loan at Everton right now and has done great things for them, so Barcelona's hoping he can be like the next big star. Yep. And this is kind of a comparison. Yeah, you go ahead and click on that. This is a comparison that shows the amount of players trained in each from each like youth team, and how many like big 5 players that they have like sent out. So Barcelona is by far the best, with 13 players playing for Barcelona right now, and 30 other players currently in other big 5 teams, which is League One, La Liga, the Premier League, the Bundesliga, and Serie A. And so the next closest is Manchester United, and they have is it 12?
Yeah.
12 players that played for Man United that came up with their youth squad, and 24 from the or that play at other big teams. So it's not even close between even first and second, and it goes on. Real Madrid is up there. A lot of Spanish teams are actually in the top, which gives Spain some hope for the future of their national team. So future stars include Christian Teo, Jared Defoulu, like I said, Isaac Quinza, and Martin Montoya. Martin Montoya, I was reading an article on Total Barca, and they were just raving about how great Montoya has played and how that he deserves to be like featured a lot first time, like first team minutes, because of how mature he seems even as a young kid. So these are future stars that might come up for Barcelona. There are a ton more. Barcelona's La Masia program has produced so many just great talented players. Their youth teams have won. This last year, they won like 13 of the 14 youth titles, with only their like U7 C team getting third in their division, which is the highest they've gotten. But besides that, they all ended up winning their division, which is just unreal. So we can finish with some highlights from the first half of the 2013-2014 season. Well, once this ad finishes up, but La Masia's like the scope that it has and just the amount of talent it puts out is just incomparable to any other place. And it's not even that they produce world-class talent, but it's the way they do it, and it's just so much different that playing for Barca is just completely different than playing for a team like Real Madrid, who also has a great youth squad, but it's just not the same. This goal is scored by Munir, who's also gotten a lot of first-time minutes and is one of the young guys that is actually from Madrid, but they hope will be a great forward going into the future. And some of these kids are like 8 and 9 years old. Like we said, they try out whenever they're like 6. So even like the U7, U8 teams, just the skill that these kids have, they would school me in soccer, that's for sure, or in football, that's for sure. And they're 8 years old. So yeah, we'll leave it. Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you.